We're back. PlayPSVR is back. And before I get too deep into the mess that is PlayPSVR, first I'm going to give a shout out to the Power A Play of the Month. PlayPSVR is back, baby. Listen at him. When I had a baby and I couldn't find a USB charger for my phone, guess who was there? Power A was there with extra USB ports when I plugged it into the wall, even though my PSVR headset was sitting there on top. When I had a podcast where I would discuss whole games and no one listened to it, Power A was there supporting me all along. When I was home alone for 14 days, quarantined, stuck in the middle of a mandemic, who was there? Power A. And that's why this month's episode and all episodes for all time are presented by Power A. Power A, Power Play. We will be there. Welcome back to the PlayPSVR podcast. Adam, it feels good to say that, my man. It feels good. How are you doing?
Baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. Butts, we're back. Baby back butts. It didn't make sense to say ribs, so I said butts. Dude, yeah, it's good. We got some good discussions coming up here, and what we have in the second segment, we're going to be talking about Super Hot because, well, here's the thing. I'm not exactly the best way to say this, Alex. There was a podcast, and we ran it. And
we discussed whole games.
We discussed entire games, whole games, and there was a word within this podcast in this hypothetical, scenario that may or may not have been a trademarked term, which I cannot believe, and that the people may or may not have received a legal document that said if we don't stop using it, Johnny Law's a coming. So. The podcast ceased to exist, and I'm dreaming of this in my mind, and so for that podcast, the two stunningly, dashfully beautiful, handsome hosts were going to play Super Hot and cover that as a deep dive. Instead, I played Super Hot, and now we get to talk about why, although it's an incredible game, why it's so much better in VR. Or at least that's what I think. We'll see what your trash opinion is. But we got good stuff, dude. I'm excited for this. Do you got anything else to say to the people before we get back into it? Say our Power A Play of the Week, start our Gamer Juices, and start going ham.
Well, I mean, I had a baby. I got real busy with work. Let's just call, if we were to have some other podcast out there where we discussed whole games and somehow Wisconsin law came to bite us in the butt, let's just call that period of time paternity leave for Alex of the PlayPSVR podcast. Well, guess what, baby? Paternity leave is over, and I'm ready to come back like a bitch. This is the PlayPSVR podcast.
Just like my
baby.
Mom.
Just like Adam's.
I swear, she's a wonderful lady. I just said that for the humor.
But she is. Yeah. Anyways, Adam, hit me up with your gamer juice.
Ooh, here's the thing. I have been running and exercising like a mofo, and it is hot as balls where I live. And so I've been chugging water. I'm serious. I've had 5 cups of water, and I have yet to pee in the past 3 hours. And so I cracked open a bubbly sparkling water, strawberry bubbly. We were also supposed to have a guest tonight, and he was going to pick something Australian, and that also fell through. So we're batting like a 0 here. But the good thing is this Gamer Juice is very good. Bubbly is a very good brand of sparkling water. I fully endorse it for anyone who wants a little bit of ting and a little bit of tang in their water.
A little bit of ting-tang right there, Adam. That sounds a bit sexual, but like everything you say, I don't quite know how to connect the dots. If you'll look back in the podcast, you'll see early Gamer Juices of mine were sparkling water before it kind of became a craze. But I'm happy that you're coming around. Bubbly is a very good brand. You can get it for cheap. So cheap, in fact, that we sold our soda stream. However, my drink, my Gamer Juice, is not a sparkling water. It's the 8-count. You can't even see it. I'm sorry. 8-count India Pale Ale. It's a beer. It's a boxing-related beer because you guys know I love getting knocked out by 8-year-olds on Creed: Rise to Glory.
You're good at it.
I actually sort of acquaintance. The guy who made this, Caleb Truax, you can see him on here. He's a boxer, was a champion for a brief time. Good dude, Minneapolis-based. Anyways, 8 count. There we go. I've had 2 of these in the pre-show, so let's see how the rest of the show goes, Adam.
So wait, isn't boxing you have to be down for like 12 counts though?
Yeah, they count to 8. It's like the mandatory 8 count. They don't have to do it, but you count to 8 to kind of give them time to clear their head still, and then you kind of let the fight continue. So I think it's like it's some kind of unofficial rule, the 8 count. 10 counts, you're out. 8 counts, you can keep going. So,
well, you know what? This is BS because right now you and I are about ready to make it official. So
whatever that means, Adam, I just want to move on. So here we go. In the first segment,
we're getting married tonight.
8 seconds to get married to Adam on the PlayPSVR podcast. We are going to discuss in the first segment, the stuff we have missed, things we enjoyed in our hiatus. And then in the second segment, we're going to move on to the super hot discussion. So hope you guys look forward to that. But Adam, let's roll right along, man. You want to move into this to this segment 1 discussion?
That is true. So we, as most of you have probably noticed, we've probably missed, I don't know, maybe 3-4 months of VR games because we may or may not have been working on a separate project, which has been good. And those games all included flat games. So I've played a little VR. Alex played some Saints and Sinners, but for the most part, we actually we've had a break from virtual reality, which I think we should dive into because it's interesting. Also, Alex wants to brag because we started using Zoom.
Yeah, no, Adam, don't undersell this, man. Okay, listen, this whole COVID-19 stuff happened and it was a pandemic and everybody suddenly started using Zoom. Go back to our podcast on YouTube, man, youtube.com/playpsvr. You will see Adam and I were ahead of the curve. We had people at Zoom emailing us talking about, we'd love to help you make sure everything's working right because we're so new. We don't know how this is working. Guess what? Adam and Alex were on top of the Zoom pile, but not smart enough to buy stock in Zoom. But everybody should know, we were the Zoom trendsetters. Whatever Adam and I jump onto next, you should know that that's going to become a big thing. But first, one thing we missed, the pandemic. Adam, how have you survived the pandemic? You all right? No issues? Have you gotten COVID yet? You got an antibody test?
Dude, I'm pretty sure. I don't know how I haven't gotten COVID yet. I don't know. I think maybe I'm one of the people who are immune to it and just don't show, like I'm asymptomatic. I don't understand.
Only antibody I got is your auntie's body in my bed, if you know what I mean.
There it is. I was like, I know you don't care about my well-being. And I'm like, there's something else to this, and there it is.
There's a sex joke about your mom's sister.
Yeah, it could be my dad's sister.
Or your dad's sister.
Or my dad.
Or your dad.
Okay, so as Alex said, everything that we do and we discuss, it is setting trends. And so we were the first ones on Zoom. We were way ahead of the curve.
The first ones.
I'm going to be way on the curve on this one. Are you ready, Alex? Because the listeners can take this to the bank. Are you ready?
Yeah, is it gentle racism? Is that what it is?
What?
How about subtle sexism? Is that what you're going to be able to
No, it is a little thing, and I know most haven't heard about it, but there's a thing coming out, a gaming system called the PlayStation 5. I think that this might be next generation defining. That's just me.
Yeah, no, Adam, I heard a little bit of buzz about this thing. I don't know too much about it. People talking about it. Can you fill me in on some info? Tell me, Adam, is the PlayStation 5 going to have PSVR? I have a PSVR. Am I going to be able to use it on my PlayStation 5? Have they discussed that?
Well, not directly, but there is a camera. And I'm pretty sure there are things saying that, you know what, we're going to be able to play the majority of the games from the PS4 on it. Most people assume that's a lot of the VR titles as well. I cannot imagine in their right mind that they would just make a new console and not make it compatible with the PSVR whatsoever. We will get a new VR. It's just not going to be at launch. I don't know, maybe a year after, maybe a little less. It makes sense from a marketing and business perspective, but as long as we'll get to continue to play our games in VR, who knows? For you, Alex, you're a little more understanding of how hardware things work. Will the PS5, is there any way that could actually enhance graphical capabilities, frame rates, anything for the PSVR, or is the limitation actually the PSVR device itself?
So the headset for the PSVR, I think a lot of people agree that it's pretty decent in terms of comfort level and resolution. I don't know if people are too keen on it. It's not bad. It certainly looks good, and it really doesn't have the God ray effects, which a lot of people complain about. I think the limitation of the PSVR is the fact that the PlayStation 4 has to output those graphics to 2 screens at the same time. So I would think the PS5 being much beefier would give us some better results and, possibility of enhanced PSVR games that already exist if played on the PS5. But the big thing that's kind of concerning, there is a camera for the PS5, which means PSVR is probably going to work with it because the PSVR works with the camera. But that's all ultimately kind of disappointing because we're all tired of having the camera be our main method of tracking in the PSVR. Maybe there's some way with hardware, hardware acceleration, graphical power, or processing power, you're able to make that better. I don't know. But I think there's a possibility for games to be better. Yeah, they can look better. The clarity of the lenses in the headset was never really much of an issue unless you're looking for something crazy like 4K, which still, I don't even think the top of the line PC VR headsets are really achieving that. Really, PSVR has to compete with the Oculus Quest. And a PlayStation 5 could certainly outpace the Oculus Quest, even an Oculus Quest 2, I'm sure. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to what a PS5 is going to put out on a PSVR.
Although I will admit, the lenses on my PSVR at this point look like Edward Scissorhands really just helicoptered right in front of my VR headset. It sucks. There's scratches all over them. I need a new headset.
When you say helicopter, are you talking about his penis?
Yes.
Because I don't think he has scissors on his penis. Does it just look like he smudged his penis on your headset?
How many appendages does he have, and how many knives and blades are on those appendages?
All right, listen. I'm not a doctor. I don't know how Scissorhands works.
What you need to admit is that you got.
I got. Anyways, if you were a listener of some kind of podcast where they might have discussed whole games, and maybe we discussed somebody discussed an announcement of a PlayStation 5. There might have been some discussion of the fact that there was Astrobot showing up again. There will be apparently an Astrobot sequel with the PlayStation 5, but it doesn't look like it's in VR yet. Adam, 2 things I want to ask you. 1, how do you feel about the Astrobot sequel? 2, of the things that were shown in the PS5 announcement, which is tangentially related to the PSVR, what were you most excited about in the PS5 announcement?
So the Astrobot, I truly believe the Astrobot itself is a very underutilized piece of artwork and design by PlayStation.
It's a great mascot.
I really think
it's a great mascot.
You're right. It is a Mario level mascot. There is nothing about Astrobot that I could think anyone could complain about. He is adorable. Mm-hmm. It's innovative. It's modern. The worlds in which he can place himself, I feel like, outpace that of like a Mario, or I don't even know what the Xbox has.
They got nothing.
They have anything?
Master Chief, and he's not charming. You're right. Here's the thing, Adam. Astrobot sequel's not going to be in VR, but with Astrobot VR, they made a character so charming that I would love to see like a fully fledged flat game even. I want to hang out with Astrobot. That's the thing.
I mean, it's not, I don't know. They didn't say it was in VR, but it doesn't mean it can't be in VR.
Well, so Astrobot seems like the kind of character they have to kind of show off the capabilities of technology. So, PS4 generation, Astrobot, they had him a little bit to show off like how the camera worked before PSVR came out. Then they had him to show off how the PSVR worked, and people loved him, so they made a whole game out of it. Now it seems like Astrobot's there to show off how the DualSense, the new controller, is going to work. But I do hope that he is utilized again for whatever the next iteration of PSVR is. Astrobot what's it called, Blast Mission or something like that, Astrobot Astro Mission, Robot Rescue, something like that. Whatever the sequel to that is in PlayStation 5 VR, I cannot wait for. So I'm so happy about Astrobot. Crash Bandicoot was never really cuddly enough to be a mascot. Spyro was all right. If you listen to a game where you talked about whole games, listen to a podcast where you talk about whole games, you hear our opinion on Spyro. Spyro was cool, but he was never, a bit too much attitude to be a fun mascot, in my view. Astrobot checks all the boxes for what I want in a console mascot.
And here's the thing that what we were talking about underutilized, and I'm checking my phone now because I wanted to be sure I didn't speak out of place. I would love nothing more than for behind me to be a little plush Astrobot or a poster of Astrobot.
Or like a sex doll of Astrobot.
Exactly. Some type of merchandise. And there isn't a single thing, not any type of merchandise at all of Astrobot. And I don't know what the heck the marketing people at PlayStation are doing, but that is very poor. I would spend $30 for a little Astrobot to hang right here because he is – most mascots, you look at them and you're like, oh, that's cute. Well, I'm a full-grown man. I don't want something cute. I want something cool. And Astrobot fits both of those. The ladies would be taking their tops off, and the dudes would be dropping their pants. But yet they don't do it. So I don't know what they're doing. It's disappointing, but I am excited for Astrobot, whether it's flat or hopefully in VR.
So Astrobot's like the PlayStation equivalent of like Baby Yoda or maybe like Wall-E, these established characters. Are you afraid that maybe Sony's, or do you think Sony's maybe afraid that some like litigious lawyer from Wisconsin might try to sue them on behalf of Wall-E if they released Astrobot merchandise?
It's hard to tell nowadays what is and isn't trademarked, So that very well could be. You have your own idea in a different realm of media, and yet you get slapped with a potential cease and desist, and that would harm PlayStation and potentially take away all the hard work that those individuals working on that project were doing. So it's hard to say, Alex. It's hard to say.
The thing, Astro, you can't trademark that. That's just a word. Bot. You can't trademark that. That's a word. Astrobot. You need to shut the F up. All right?
That's right.
Get out of here and shut your podcast down. Go back to PlayPSVR. Moving on. Adam, I want to talk about the good and bad aspects about our hiatus that we had. There was nothing. We weren't working on anything. We just had a hiatus. Adam, the good thing about the hiatus was that we went from playing games like Slumball, and even though I love it, I'm going to mention it, Vertigo Home. We went from playing those games to playing games like Shadow of the Colossus, The Last of Us Part 2, Game of the Year contenders. Adam, how did it feel to go and actually play some legitimate video game classics for a little while?
So I will say, and I think even in the beginning of PlayPSVR, people, you remember me saying, I'm not going to play flat games suck, you're not immersed. And I definitely feel that way still. However, when you play the best of the best flat games, there definitely is a difference. The depth in the games, the graphics of them, it really is completely different, but it's still enjoyable. So in our hiatus, I'm trying to think what is the best game I've played, and I would say it probably was Final Fantasy VII Remake. That was a legit game. It overstayed its welcome a little too long, like most of these games do.
Yeah.
I don't know why these people they want to prolong the story. I don't understand it.
They just build a lot of fake content. Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. Whatever. That's a whole different discussion. But Final Fantasy VII Remake is just it's a masterpiece. It's what it is. And if I only restricted myself to VR, obviously I wouldn't get a chance to play it. Last of Us 2 was an enjoyable experience. And then there were some games you and I played that, like Shadow of the Colossus, take it or leave it. I would rather play VR than play that. We played what everybody got into the Rapture. Take it or leave it. I'll just play, Invisible Hours or one of the other games. They're very similar, but in VR. But overall, the games, it was kind of nice playing flat games, and not necessarily that, but playing the games that were really good, that were masterpieces.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like you're looking into the future of VR video games, like 5 years in the future, because they can't do The Last of Us Part 2 in VR. They just can't do it technically. So maybe 5-10 years from now, that's the kind of thing that we could see in VR. Kind of like how Skyrim VR came out about 10 years after Skyrim came out. So it is nice to see like where video games can go. Having been immersed in VR, it's good to kind of bring our head out of the virtual reality water and take a breath of like normal gaming for a bit. That being said, there's some bad things associated with not making yourself exclusive to VR. The one thing I want to highlight is when we were not committed to VR games, I ended up playing Kingdom Hearts, and it was awful. It might be the worst thing that's happened in my life. Adam, what was the worst game you played non-VR when you were?
The thing is, guys, he only does this to get my goat. And most of the time it works. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get all riled up because he's an idiot. He just refuses to admit that one of the best franchises in video game history is Good Game. Does the first one have issues? Of course. I'm not going to get into it. He's just trying to make me mad. He's going to start talking about the music here soon, and I'm going, I'll quit. You hear me? Anyhow, the bad, I would say, the worst game I played, I think, and this is just going off memory, of course, was probably Ace Combat 5, because it was just, it's so good. It's so bad.
You played it in VR.
No, so I admit that I should say it's bad for my taste of games. That's what I should say. I couldn't even finish it. And the VR was cool. Ace Combat 7 in VR. First time I had played it when I had played Ace Combat 5. And it was very cool, but it got boring, and it was too technical for me. And of the games I played, it was just my least favorite.
Were you just upset that there weren't like enough airmen in VR?
I don't even know what that means.
All right, moving on. Okay,
Is that a joke?
The worst was Ace Combat 5.
Airmen? What's that even mean? That doesn't mean anything. It's not even a joke.
I know. It's a bad joke, Adam. I'll edit it out in post-production.
Airman. But at least make it so someone knows it's a joke. Even the listeners are out there. I just hear crickets. No one knows what you're talking about. Exactly.
Another. Shut up, Adam.
I want to know, what was your least favorite game and favorite game that you may or may not have played during this hiatus?
I think my least favorite game was probably Kingdom Hearts, Adam.
It was not. You rated it when we discussed together, and you rated it like a 6 or 7.
I needed to bring you on board with this project. No, somebody needed to bring you on board with some project that was happening at the time. No, I did. Kingdom Hearts is like the most leave it game. Like, had I not played it, I probably would have been fine. The best game, the most affecting game I played, the game I wish that I could erase my memory and go back and play again, Outer Wilds for sure. And I know
no, I take it back. You're right. I forgot about that piece of trash. That game is the worst game. I would rather live in Ace Combat 5 than play that piece of garbage again.
I freaking loved Outer Wilds. Anyways, Adam, we got to move on instead of just arguing about games again. There's a whole other podcast, a whole game of podcasts out there. You know, there was a podcast where people played games as a whole, like a game whole podcast that people participated in to discuss these games. We're not doing that, Adam. Adam, some of the good things that happened in the hiatus, the games that we played were much more accessible and they were much easier to play. You know, I just had a kid. And so I enjoyed playing these games. If I got to pause, I pause. I'm going to rip off some headset. I can always hear what's going on. I'm present in the room so my wife doesn't feel isolated when I'm playing video games in the living room. There's something to be said about the convenience of playing these flat games on a TV, a little bit of community aspect. The streaming was a bit easier and better. You know, I could look at one screen and see what the chat's going on and look at the other screen and see where my gameplay's happening. So, you know, there's things you miss out in playing VR. I enjoyed that. And also I enjoyed revisiting some of the classic games that I made you play so that I could enjoy them again, like Shadow of the Colossus, Ace Combat 5, and whatnot. What's your take on that, Adam? Did you enjoy the new accessibility? You don't have kids running around at your feet all the time.
Yeah, I still do, because people have mentioned it a lot. In VR, it does take extra motivation to put that headset on, and it really is an experience when you're playing in virtual reality. You can't really just sit and veg out in virtual reality. You have to move. It's a lot more active. And so certain times, of course, it's nice just to sit in the chair. I don't got to do anything. I don't got to think. I don't got to move. And I can just play the game. That I definitely like. And when people give me crap about playing Tetris Effect, that's the only reason I play it. Because it's one of the only games in virtual reality that you really can sit there. You don't have to look around. You don't really have to think. You just sit there and you play a game and you can look straight ahead. It really is one of the only games in VR that you can do that with. And that's why, because sometimes you need that. And of course, on the opposite side, when you do that, when you play a flat game and you're not immersed in it, I mean, The Last of Us Part 2, there were a couple times, mainly it's the plot that sometimes you got invested, but in the game, I wasn't really that invested. I wasn't in the game. I realized, oh, I'm playing a video game. When I played Resident Evil 7, yeah, I forgot. And it felt like, you know, my life's on the line. And that is what you're missing when you play a flat game and not virtual reality. But good and bad, a mix of both, I think, is the best of both worlds. But virtual reality definitely has its advantages. And I missed it.
Mm-hmm. Last bad thing about shying away from virtual reality gaming is, Adam, these games take way too effing long to play. I'm looking at you, Last of Us. I'm looking at you, any game that takes more than 10 hours to play for a grown-ass adult. I missed knowing that I'd be able to experience the entire game in like 4 to 6 to 10 hours, something like that. When we played, I mean, when there was a podcast where people discussed whole games and they discussed The Last of Us Part 2, I heard that one of the guys that participated had to spend like 2 hours every night for like 2 weeks to finish this game and experience all of the story. And it wasn't worth it because the story didn't need to be 28 hours long, but it was. I really like that VR doesn't waste your time. Any second you're spent in VR, it seems to be time well spent because they don't, you know, there's no resource. We're not going to gee whiz you with stupid stuff. You're in here, get to it. We're not going to waste your time just standing around doing nothing. I like that about VR. I'm excited to get back into it.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree for the most part. I think there are so many games, like The Last of Us Part 2 didn't need to be 36 hours.
Oh, God, too
That's
long.
nuts. It's too long, and it's nuts, and a lot of it was probably filler. I would even say Final Fantasy VII, even though I really enjoyed it, it didn't need to be 40 hours. You could have cut 10 hours off it by cutting out all the stuff that really didn't have that big of an impact. Now, one thing I will admit with a longer game, specifically thinking about the Kingdom Hearts, is that when you are with a group of people or in a world or playing as a character for that long, it almost forces you to care. And so I think that is something that if Kingdom Hearts were 5 hours, I wouldn't care as much for Sora or the plot or anything like that. Like with that much time, they have the ability to really weave a world and a story together that is incredible. Whereas in VR, I mean, you have some stuff like Mage's Tale and Invisible Hours had a pretty good plot, but it's not the depth. But I think we need a middle ground. I think 24 hours for me is about as long of a game as I can sit there. Like, that's maximum.
Yeah.
You play that, it's a good game. You have plenty of time to get your point across and get the plot developed. Any more than that is too long. VR is a little on the short end. Like Saints and Sinners, that's like 12 hours. That's great. That is perfect. Some of the shorter games that are like 2 hours, paying $30 for a 2-hour game, that's just kind of steep. But, again, it's trade-offs.
Quick aside, Adam. You brought up Final Fantasy VII. I want to go a little play PSVR after dark here. If you're not 18 or older, please just fast forward about maybe, 1 minute. Adam, Cindy Aram, Tifa Lockhart. Who's got the better rack? Cindy Aram versus Tifa Lockhart in a booby battle.
The booby battle for the century. Here's the thing. Cindy shows them. She's not afraid. I mean, she's battling a nip slip almost with every outfit. Tifa, she hides them. They're big. They're there. They're there, but she hides them. She's got a lot of punching and moving, so she must have a good sports bra or something. Or she just lets them jiggle. I don't know.
You got to pick one, Adam. Cindy Aram or Tifa Lockhart? Oh. That's her name, Lockhart, right?
Is this for banging or for marrying? It makes a difference.
Marrying, because it's for the rest of your life. You pick one.
Oh, I'm going to have to go Tifa.
All right. She's
settles a little more reserved. Because could you imagine the night of your wedding? Like, what do they look like? I don't know. You're already going to know what Cindy's looks like.
What? Okay, if you are 18, if you're younger than 18, please fast forward another minute. Adam, what if first night with Tifa, she's missing a nipple? Just one of them? One of them's gone.
Just look at the other one. It's big enough for... That's fine.
All right. If you're 18 or younger, welcome back to the Play PSVR podcast. Next thing that's good about the hiatus, we ain't getting sued, baby. There's nobody coming after us for our assets and our what little stuff we have.
Well, someone's coming for my asset.
Yeah, Tifa on your wedding night, right?
I wish.
Adam, I had an idea for what we're going to do for the first segment. I think we're going to have to push that into the second segment. It's going to be called What Games Have We Missed? You guys love the sales segment. We're going to push, instead of the sales segment, we're going to talk about the games that came out since we've been gone and whether or not Adam thinks you should buy them. So join us after the next segment, and we will see you after the break.
Welcome back to Play PSVR, the podcast. And I've got good news, folks. During the break, I did extensive research on Tifa, and every picture that I could find, she had both nipples. So you don't need to fret. I think she's got both of them.
What if it – okay, might be prosthetic, but we'll move on.
It's hard to tell. I'm going to have to touch them to really verify. Too bad she doesn't exist. Anyhow, you were going to read me the games. And mind you, again, I have been on a hiatus. I know the big games that came out in virtual reality, Iron Man, Saints and Sinners. But for the most part, I am clueless. And you were going to read me the games. I am going to give you my first impressions of the name of them, possibly the content, and based on the artwork. And I'm going to tell you whether you should play them or not.
All right. Adam, I'm on the PlayStation Store, picked all the games, sorted by newest releases first. So we're going to move down this list. First of all, Star Wars Squadrons Pre-Order Edition. Are you hyped? How do you feel?
I never played Bridge Crew. I don't care about. Wait.
Well, that's Star Trek. Yeah, Star Wars.
Okay. I don't even know the difference. I don't really care. I remember people losing their effing mind. Yeah. Here's the thing. When I played the Star Wars whatever the racing game was for N64.
Pod Racer, yeah.
Pod Racer. That was a big game. It was a pretty decent game. If it were just like that in virtual reality, which I think it potentially maybe could be, I don't know.
No, it's not at all.
Oh, okay, well then F it. I'm not playing it.
Did you play that Star Wars minigame that came out for like Battlefront? I don't think you did. It's like a Star Wars X-Wing mission. So Star Wars Squadrons, it's like a Star Wars X-Wing TIE fighter kind of dual story thing happening. Looked really fun. I'm excited about it. I heard some preview discussion on, I think, the Game Informer podcast or something. It could be really good if they put money behind it. I hope it's like a VR-only thing, but it might be a flat game too, so it's like going to be kind of sort of good. Anyways, fully fledged Star Wars flying action game. That's what I want in PSVR. That's going to be exciting. Adam, next on the list, Crisis Brigade 2. How you feeling?
Yeah, this had multiplayer in it, and I mean, the first one, it's a good game. It's just so hard.
Yep. I mean, this one's also going to be hard. They say caution, only suitable for players who love a challenge. Here's what I've seen of the game. They seem to have taken it a bit more seriously, less of that like blocky, super deformed game character stuff, and more about like time crisis, realistic SWAT team type action. I'm very intrigued by this game. I want to dip into this and do some of this shooting action. It looked really cool. Graphically, it looked impressive. Kudos to that team for putting it back together and coming at it again. I want to dive in. Here's one. I got no idea, Adam. Please tell me you know something about Dance Collider.
Huh. It sounds like it could be an STD.
Get ready for the ultimate dance workout. Set in a futuristic world controlled by the super AI known as Uriel, players dance for survival. Challenge 9 of the best dancers from around the world and complete on global leaderboards.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I don't know what the F that is. It sounds like maybe a better version of Run Dorothy Run, but that's not saying much, and I still don't want to play it. So
okay.
Move on.
I like the idea. Don't think I want the execution. Marvel's Iron Man VR. Adam, did you play the demo of this?
I did, and I thought it was good. It wasn't anything spectacular. I thought it was a little overhyped. I could see why it was hyped, but not really my type of game. I don't like the humor they attempted to put into it. I don't care about superheroes. Whatever. And I also heard that it was a little short, and it actually fell short of a lot of people's expectations.
You fight nothing but drones the whole time, which somehow makes it like repetitive. Doesn't sound too exciting. When I heard that, I was like, I don't really need it. I'm okay. Adam, Paper Beast came out. What do you know about Paper Beast? You interested at all? This is kind of hyped. Be the first to explore this virgin land where nature is the star. Adam, how do you feel about that? Oh my goodness. Adam's computer has glitched. He's no longer part of the PlayPSVR podcast. So Paper Beast, the quotes here on the website say that it's a living, breathing miracle of a VR adventure. Upload VR.
Are you
there? Are you back?
My internet crapped out.
I got you. I carry this podcast for you, Adam.
Dude, you got me. Paper Beast, I don't know anything about it. I hate special delivery. That's what it reminds me of. F it. I'm not playing.
I like Paper Beast, like special delivery. You're the Paper Beast. You're the man who delivers the paper. We need to release the Papers Beast, which is just special delivery sequel. Yeah. Party Pumper, Adam. This sounds like a game that might be up your alley, actually. The Party Pumper, born in the vibrations of music. Party Pumper is a game about parties and for parties. The player's goal is to entertain the audience by mixing in music samples. Adam, how do you feel about Party Pumpers?
Like I don't know whether it's a sexual thing or an insult. Dude, he's a real party pumper.
If you lose, it goes like, ooh, party pooper. I'm looking at the screenshots here. This is
dude, I can just imagine I'm sitting there, I'm at a party, they're doing cake stands. I'll be like, hey, did you hear about the Alex kid? Yeah, he's a real party pumper. And you just hear upstairs like, oh, That's the party pumper again. Like I don't understand.
Oh, it looks like a knockoff version of what's that game called?
Electronauts.
Electronauts, which is a good game. Party Pumper, Discount Electronauts. Look, the screenshots look interesting. I love the name. Next, Adam, I think this game's made after your mom. It's called Pancake House.
I thought it was going to be Headmaster Part 2.
There is a Headmaster update. We'll get to it. Pancake House, the planet's resource shortage forces humans to develop alternative energy sources. Alternative Energy Development Company finds the presence of energy buried deep underground and begins a major excavation. Somehow this results in a zombie fighting game.
This is so stupid.
A zombie wave shooter?
Stop the zombie wave shooters, please. Move on.
It says Pancake House. If it is delicious, you will die. And it's got zombies walking towards you. The developer of the game it says Elliot, which I like to imagine is just some kid. He made a PSVR game. He's doing way the hell better than we are because he got it on the store.
Here's the thing. Is the person making the pancakes black?
I don't want to touch that with a 9-foot pole.
Aunt Jemima, that's racist.
Okay. Adam's getting his old man political sense going. Yeah.
No, I don't think it should be. I think that's racist, and that she should be white or Scandinavian.
Or Scandinavian.
One of the two.
What would Aunt Jemima's name be in Scandinavia?
Aunt Jem.
Hey, that's not bad.
Yeah,
Adam.
But in the country, you couldn't tell if they're saying Aunt Jim or Aunt Jem. And so then the whole time you're going to your Uncle Jim, and he's like, I ain't got that milk. And then Aunt Jemima, move on, please.
Move on. Adam, the next game is I'm going to say it one word. Coaster. That's the name of the game.
That's just interesting. It sounds like Bob Saget. What's the one where you're doing the air suit and you're flying?
Rush VR.
Rush. It sounds like it would be a version of Rush VR.
It's just called Coaster. Experience the thrill and sensation of 4 unique roller coaster experiences. Feel the wind rush through your virtual hair as you feel the wind rush through your virtual hair. Adam, do you have virtual hair, or do you keep it cleaned up and maybe there's no virtual hair?
Oh, I Manscaped for sure.
You Manscaped. All right. This podcast is not brought to you by Manscaped. Remember, it's Power A podcast, Power A Play of the Week.
Oh, that's right. That's probably trademarked. Balls. Yeah.
Journey into each exceptional environment and enjoy extended coasters from a range of different perspectives. Adam, tell me I'm going to name the 4 coasters I think they have. There is a Space Coaster. Does that sound exciting?
Sounds like Space Mountain.
It looks like you're flying around like the rings of Jupiter. That looks pretty cool. Adam, Moon Coaster. How do you feel?
Why could that not just be part of Space Coaster?
It's a roller coaster on the moon. You're exploring a dystopian mining colony on the moon. Sounds like it's going to be really great. Adam, tell me if this gets more or less exciting. Room Coaster. I wish I was joking. Room Coaster.
That sounds real stupid. Yeah, no, definitely less exciting.
What the hell is Room Coaster? It's literally a roller coaster riding through a room, just an apartment.
Oh.
Okay, and then the last one, most exciting of all, Picnic Coaster.
Wow, that's what
experience what it's like to ride on a roller coaster next to a picnic table. Oddly enough, pertinent to your discussion, there's pancakes on the table.
Oh, also pertinent to this discussion, sometimes your mom feels bad about herself, so we call it a coaster instead of a train. That's a good one.
Adam, let's create Pottery VR. I think this is the last game somebody reached out to us asking us to review. I don't think we capitalized on that, and now I'm kind of regretting it, seeing as how we're back where we are. Listen. This is interesting. I think I'd like to make pottery in VR. How do you feel about that?
I would make about 4 ding-dongs, and then I would be done. So
the rule of thumb here is if you can make ding-dong vases, we are all aboard. But if we are stuck to the vases that you want us to make, you need to go somewhere else, find a different podcast.
Take it to Oculus. Yeah, we don't want it.
Add the necessary elements. Burn and decorate like a real artisan. and choose a variety of colors or use ready-made color palettes and give them unique style and character. I, I love the idea. Something tells me they're not into me making penis coasters. So we are going to move on to the next game, which is Arizona Sunshine Deluxe Edition. Or you could just get the Deluxe upgrade. Adam, I do not know what is in the... Oh, okay. Deluxe Edition further completes your Arizona Sunshine collection with the following digital deluxe bonus content: the Arizona Sunshine soundtrack, the Arizona Sunshine PlayStation 4 theme, and the Arizona Sunshine pack for After the Fall. It's an upcoming VR action FPS with seamless 4-player co-op gameplay at its core. Show your survivor legacy in its ravaged multiplayer world by donning the Arizona Sunshine colors with its themed item pack. Adam, are you interested in paying more money to get more Arizona Sunshine stuff that is not a video game?
Well, I would rather listen to a young wolf cub vomit and choke than listen to that soundtrack. I would rather play with myself with a Vegetti in my wiener than experience any of the rest of that, what they're selling. I am not interested whatsoever. I didn't like the first game. I've deleted it, and I will not be reinstalling. Next, please.
We played the sequel, Dead Man DLC, where you're like a military dude burning through. That was all right. Did we play the Damned DLC?
I don't remember. I tried to shove it out of my memory, probably.
All right. Adam, this is a game that's right up your alley. I would have liked to play it. I think it's developed by Play'em Inc. I like the name. Good Dog, Bad Dog.
I saw that guy's Will. I had a discussion with him. He has a very good review on his channel, and it is something that I feel like it's like a drunken bar fight. It's one of those that you'll get maybe 1 or 2 sittings of awesome fun, really hilarious, good stuff, but it has no staying power. And so that's why I would call it. You play maybe an hour, 2 hours max, and then you're done with it. So
yeah,
would I pay for it? Don't think so.
It's $25, but I love the audacity of making a game where it's just like, listen, man, put this VR headset on, see what it's like to be a dog for a day. I like that.
No, it's great, but I think the execution was poor.
Yeah, execution's poor. Idea is something I can get behind. Yeah.
I would have definitely peed on someone's foot.
Now, here's a group we've heard before, Wolf and Wood Interactive. I don't know what game they made, but Hotel R&R. It looks like it's got some like tough dude with a gun. Don't know what that has to do with hotels. It says you sell your soul to the devil and smash up hotels to become infamous. Pressure from the hotel staff and your own limp wrists are against you, but it's time to get creative and destroy this hotel. Adam, how do you feel about this game?
So they made the Chair in the Room. They made the Exorcist VR experience. And Chair in the Room was good. I've been trying to get them to give me the Exorcist Legion VR for literally, at this point, it's probably been 2 years. And they won't do it. Freaking buttholes. Why would you give me a Chair in the Room, but you won't give me Exorcist? It doesn't make any sense. I want it. Anyhow, I don't know. I'm not crazy enthused with it. I feel like their games are like, they're good, but they never get close to the great category. They're always good. And yeah.
It looks like a drunken bar fight type thing. You basically you're put in a room and you got to destroy it. The picture I'm looking at is you giving the finger to some motel dude while you got dynamite in your hand about to blow it up. You're at a strip club throwing tentacles, it looks like, at a stripper who's got cow udders on. I mean, of course, it's going to be silly. That might be fun, but I'm not. Yeah, all right. Let's move on to the next game.
We got too many games.
We got many games. Gorn came out. The very hyped Gorn.
Yeah, before I knew what it looked like or what type of game it was, people just kept talking about Gorn. And then I saw it was like cartoonish, totally turned me off. I thought it was going to be like a Gladiator thing, like actual humans. And it's not. I'm not really interested.
Yeah.
I'm not going to play it. I haven't played it. I've also, it's kind of been quiet, so I'm assuming it also underwhelmed.
I think it came out and people were disappointed in it. I see a lot of bad stuff on Reddit. People talking about the tracking isn't very good. Adam, the sequel to the game that you should have played but never did, Pixel Ripped 1995 came out. They released a sequel. I feel like I should have played this. Pixel Ripped 1989, I think it was. It was kind of NES based, Game Boy type games. That was really fun. I'd love to play it now. It looks like you are playing Super NES and Genesis era type games. Have you played it? Did I just miss it that you played Pixel Rip 1989? Are you interested in playing 1995?
No, I would definitely play it. I just need to play the first one, and now that we're playing VR again, maybe it's a good time to jump. That and Trover, those are on my wish list to play.
Yeah, Pixel Rip 1995. That's a game I need to get. It's just such a crazy experience when you're going through it. Now here we have some DLC that I pre-purchased because I bought the season pass for Audica. Adam, it's like Beat Saber, but you're shooting guns instead of slicing blocks. Do you have any desire?
Look interesting. Not
Dude,
interested.
I enjoyed Audica. I was slutty club girl dancing all night when I played Audica. Time for me to bust that out again. That was a good time. I like it. Moving on, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I played this for one of the Golden Streams. Adam, did you watch any of this?
I did. I watched a lot of it, and it looks very good. Everyone has very high praises for it. It's a long game. It's fairly in-depth, very immersive. It's a game that I agree I should play.
Yeah, it's very good. It's very visceral, and I enjoyed all the time I spent with it. Adam, let's start moving quickly here. Down the Rabbit Hole, not to be confused with Rabbit Hole. You want to play it?
I heard it's rather, again, underwhelming, but I like the fact that Alice in Wonderland is like odd and a little bit creepy, and I like that, but I don't think it was well utilized in VR. I'm probably gonna skip on this.
It's like a platformer like Mario, but like all around you. But you're still seeing that third, kind of like what's the game with the mouse? Quill, whatever it's called.
Moss,
kind of like Moss. Spuds Unearthed. You played that game. How was it? Tell me
I did,
on it.
baby. Freaking loved it. Everyone else crapped on it. It was not that bad of a game. A little repetitive, yes. But I went to their bases, and my Spuds just destroyed their Spuds, and together we made Spud babies. I raped and pillaged your village, ho. Don't go back to your planet, because my Spuds have just spudded all over your little Spud planet.
Disaster Report 4 Summer Memories. This is $60. I'm not going to get it, but it's made by a company that I like, NIS America. They make some kind of janky games that end up being really fun. I think the VR version is just like some kind of weird sub game that's not really worth it. So I'm just mentioning it because I think the game might be fun, but I don't know. I wish somebody would reach out to me.
What would I tell you if you could get it for $50?
I'd buy it in a heartbeat.
Boom. Because as a side note, we saw today that apparently PlayStation is going to put $10 in your PlayStation wallet if you're a PlayStation Plus member. That is good stuff. That is a free $10 for you, Jim. What would you do with your $10? Are you saving it for a bigger game, or are you going to spend it as soon as you can because you can't hold it in your pants?
I'm horrible at saving. I'm going to spend it immediately on Disaster Report 4 Summer Memories, so I only have to pay $49.99 instead of $59.99 for a 5-minute mode of a game that should have been $30 at launch. Is only worth about $10 at launch. I'm going to spend all that money so I can spend even more money.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to save mine for PSVR 2. I'm going to be saving for about 2 years.
Damn it, you're so good. A Room Where Art Conceals, I think it's a game you just get inside master works of art. Adam, are you excited about that?
No, next.
Okay. Sharknado VR, Eye of the Storm. I heard that was
How many
terrible.
are there? We need to hurry this up. I'm getting bored. No, not playing it.
Here's one. Good Goliath, not to be confused with Ghost Giant, which is the exact same damn game. You're a gentle giant, and you help people out. Good Goliath.
No.
Shit. This is the same game. Actually, it looks very different. I take it back. Looks like tower defense, but what? Come on, guys. It actually looks pretty cool. Why do you ruin this? It's a tower defense game.
I mean, if they started it before Ghost Giant came out, then
You can change the name whenever the hell you want to. Just look at what's that robot golf game? They've released it like 8 times, so it gets back on the list. A-Tech Cybernetic by X Real Games.
what the
hell?
F? No, come up. Sounds like Elon Musk made it. Next.
It looks good.
Sure it does. Next.
Here's the last one. I wanted to play this. The Room VR, A Dark Matter by Fireproof Studios. They make all the cell phone games. It's like escape room games. I loved them. Adam, have you ever played the escape room games, The Room?
I'm a fan. Yeah, although some of their puzzles are a little.
It's a bit obtuse, right? Like it's just kind of like okay, whatever. But it's like creepy, but not like trying too hard to be creepy, right?
Yeah, not bad. There are other games I would rather play because I have a little bit of a backlog now. So
all right.
I'll put it that way.
So recapping, Adam, what is the biggest game that stood out to you that maybe you wished you had played? You'd been active PSVRing.
I feel like it's got to be Saints and Sinners, and second would be Pixel Ripped.
Yeah. Those are good choices. I think The Room is the one that's the biggest miss for me, only because I played Saints and Sinners. Yeah, those are some good choices. So that's it for what we've missed, Adam. Listeners, if there's a game you think we really should play that we glossed over, that we haven't discussed, please let us know. We'll reach out. We'll buy it. We'll talk about it. I don't even care, man. I'm going to throw cash at all this stuff. I'm not wasting money on a whole game of podcasts. I can buy any of these games now, man. Freaking flush with cash after all the money we made on a game, on a podcast where we discuss whole games. Adam, it's time to get into the meat of this podcast. We're going to talk about Super Hot. All right. What do you want to talk about Super Hot? That was going to be the next episode of some stupid podcast somebody had. I played Super Hot.
So now it's relegated to a simple, quick discussion, but I think that's A-okay.
Yeah.
The thing is, so I finally played the flat version. I played the VR version first, never knew of it, loved the VR version. It is still my go-to game. Anyone's like, oh, VR, that must be cool. Put them in Super Hot, they leave a believer.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the most quintessential virtual reality games. It is perfect for virtual reality. So I played it in flat version, and I'll have to admit, it is very, very good. Even in the flat version. I didn't know how the controls would translate to flat version, just because the only thing in my mind I knew was you move. It's like the Matrix. How are you going to be able to do that in flat? And they do it well. It's definitely not as good as VR, but I will say for a short game, I'm calling a short game 3 hours or less.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours long, yeah.
Yeah, it is the best short game I have ever played. It is incredible from the creepy atmosphere, the plot development, the gameplay is addictive. It is a 100% unique idea. I absolutely loved it. Way more than I thought I would. There's also a DLC that recently came out.
It's free if you purchased the game. Not looking at like free subscribers from Stadia Pro or PlayStation Plus or something. If you purchased the original game, the flat game, you got the free Mind Control Delete release that just came out, or you can purchase that independently. Well worth it. Yeah, Adam, tell me about that. You played that some, huh?
It is pretty much a game all on its own.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't quite hit the end of it because our, other project may or may not have been disrupted. So I was like, well, I just got sidetracked. But I'm at least, 2 hours into it, and I still have a ways to go. So it's just as long, if not longer, than the actual game. And I actually think it may be more fun because they throw some things at you that the original game didn't. I will admit it's hard as my GMA's titties, especially later into the DLC, but it's real good. I'm a big fan. And then we'll talk about why I personally think that VR is a game changer and why it's actually better in VR.
Yeah, I mean, the whole reason we're talking about this is because the Mind Control Delete is kind of a sequel to Super Hot. That came out, and so I wanted Adam to play the original Super Hot. I also played Super Hot VR first, but I bought the Super Hot Mind software bundle, which came with the flat version of Super Hot. And playing through that, I was a guy who, growing up, was in IRC channels talking about video games. I may or may not have been pirating games here and there, getting cracks and stuff like that. And so this is, if you don't know it, the story of this is that one of your friends from the internet sends you a game and says, this is the most immersive and ingenious or innovative. That's the word. This is the most innovative shooter I've played in years. And it's a game called Superhot.exe. The whole game takes place in this nice, like, pseudo DOS box type situation where you're going through. You have like these ASCII screensavers that you can look at. Look at some old, early 1990s PC software that people used to hack and code and script, and it's kind of a throwback to that era. You can even go into a chat room and just kind of wait and see what kind of chat people have, and people are saying things, and they're talking about games, getting kicked out for saying stupid stuff, and instead talking about, oh, I want to come in here and be a hacker, and they kick them out for being noobs. It's all that feel and aesthetic of the early 90s kind of shareware internet era. And I was tangentially related to that. It was really fun to kind of see their take on it in this game. But then you get into the meat of the game, and it's this nice, fancy first-person shooter where when you move, you turn, that progresses time. So when you move, time moves. And there's these red guys trying to take you out, and you can punch them. You can hit them with melee weapons. You can shoot them, but keep in mind everything you do progresses time as well. So you see a bullet coming your way, you got to be smart. Make sure you're not going to walk right into it or do anything that causes it to run into you. Anybody who's played Superhot VR is familiar with this. Adam, was there anything weird in playing it in flat that kind of like confused you? How did it feel playing it in flat? Was it confusing? Did it translate well? Did you feel at home? Was it more difficult, less difficult? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, I think it's hard because I remember the first time I played it in virtual reality, there's definitely a learning curve. Like, I mean, there just is. Like, you understand that, okay, if you don't move, time stops and nothing happens. But knowing when to move slowly, when to completely stop, there's just a learning curve. And so that was in the VR version. By the time I played it in flat, obviously I kind of knew what I was doing. And I do feel like the base game was just in general easier. I don't know if definitely didn't get game over ever. I mean, I'm sure I lost on a couple levels.
On the base game, the flat game?
Yeah.
See, I thought the flat game was way harder because in the VR game, you can like block bullets with a gun and not lose your gun. So if you see a bullet coming, you can just like knock it out of the air with your gun. But on the base game, there were times where like a shotgun would be shot at me. And it's like, okay, I really can't move anywhere. I'm going to get hit by the shotgun. You can't duck down underneath something that's incoming like you can in VR. So there, towards the end, I had to retry at least the last level many, many times because you would get caught in a crossfire, or your head just wouldn't be on a swivel. In VR, if you look around, it doesn't progress time. But in the flat game, if you turn your character, then it does progress time a little bit. So it's hard to look around and see what's happening around you. But in VR, it's easy to get that feeling about where the next enemy is going to be.
I think you suck.
I might also suck.
Yeah.
Now,
so the one thing that made it easier in the flat game is that you could accurately throw.
Yep. And it
VR,
becomes a big component.
Just can't. Yeah.
In VR, I can't throw. In the flat game, it becomes a big component. You throw a gun at a bad guy, and they drop their gun, and you can catch it and shoot them. In VR or in the flat game, you also have the power to teleport into an enemy character's body, so you basically just jump to the next person. That wasn't in the VR game. Did you use that too much? I pretty quickly forgot about that ability until they reminded me.
Yeah, I didn't use it until there was there were a couple levels where they were essentially telling you have to use it.
You have to use it. Yeah.
But other than that, no, I didn't feel the need to. Really, I did not think it was a tough game, but I like that.
Yeah.
I want some challenge, and the DLC, it got to the point where it's like too hard. Like, it's not as much fun to play because it's so difficult now. Because now in the DLC, I don't know how far you got, but now only certain parts of the people are red, so you have to only shoot his arm.
Yeah.
And then they throw more enemies at you. They put you in an area that is less advantageous so they can come at you from any angle. It's just really difficult. And so, which I guess it should be, as the game progresses, it should get more difficult. But I liked it when it was kind of like easy, and I could feel like that black guy in the Matrix, and like, and it's
Yeah,
good
I know.
stuff.
Yeah, the DLC, I liked that twist of adding characters that just had like one vulnerable body part. You can still hit them and it'll freeze them, and then you can hit that vulnerable body part. But it is kind of fun watching so that's one thing that happens in the flat game is when you finish, it does a replay at full speed, so you can see what it would be like if there was no slowed down time. Kind of makes you feel like a badass, kind of like John Wick or something like that. It's fun to shoot guys in the bicep 4 times because that's the only vulnerable part. That was interesting. I haven't gotten that far in the DLC. The DLC is kind of like a roguelike version. So you pick different levels you want to go to. You get some kind of bonuses and stuff like that. Like, oh, now there's more bullets in my gun, or my gun reloads faster, or I haven't. You have lives. You have an extra life. Things like that. Less time, less cooldown in your abilities. That's all kind of fun stuff. Adam, the big thing that was different in the VR version compared to the flat version is I think the flat version had a better story. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, at first I was unimpressed. It wasn't until about maybe 2 hours in that I wasn't entranced, but I thought it fit the overall theme of what they were going with and the atmosphere they created very well. And what I thought was hilarious, I'm just going to spill the beans.
Yeah, I
So
mean
if
it's
you want to
not
play
deep
the
story.
game,
Yeah.
skip it. This part, at least.
Adam's computer crapped out again.
It's taken over you.
Yeah,
And
Adam, you're gonna have to rewind. You crapped out. Your internet died for a second.
oh, dude, yeah, it's struggling. That's what happens when I guess there's a bunch of people on it. Regardless, you get to the end of the game. It's about the system kind of overtaking you. It's telling you what to do, and it's telling you at the end of the game, this is the most innovative shooter you've played. Go and tell people. And what's hilarious is that before that, I told like 3 people that I was like, Super Hot is an awesome game. It's on sale. You need to go play it. Before I knew that's what the plot was. So when it happened, I like laughed. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
It really does. It is innovative. It is incredible. And it will have you telling people who haven't played it before, yo, dog, WTF, mate, go play it. And if they don't, you're not their friend anymore.
Yeah, and as somebody who played like pirated games back in the day, and their game would get corrupted and like crazy things would happen when they try to play pirated games, this game leans into that. So the in between the levels, there's that kind of weird computer DOS box type stuff that happens, and you try to type and then it gets corrupted and sent something else, and it's just really fun and it's eerie, and the game culminates in a really interesting way in the end. So the story's not anything deep or like it's not like a book or anything, but it's just really cool stuff happens, and there's kind of some plot twist to it. I don't want to spoil it, but I do think that was something missing from the VR game. The VR game, I think the biggest plot twist is you have to shoot yourself at some point, which is woo. Everybody did that the first level anyways. So, but aside from that, the developers just have this really keen sense of like humor and like internet gaming culture, and kind of this ruthlessness, like we're just going to play along, we don't care what's going on, just like silliness to this kind of gaming culture. I really enjoyed, and they embraced it. And the sequel, the DLC, kind of takes that forward and takes it to the next level. Really enjoyable. I haven't finished the DLC. I hear that it is there's more story to it. I didn't realize. So I'm going to have to continue playing it to finish it out. I thought it was just going to be roguelike levels at endless mode, but apparently there's an ending to it. So I'm looking forward to playing through that and seeing the ending. Adam, what would you give PlayPSVR, the flat version?
I would say it's pretty high.
Yeah.
I'd say it's at least a 7 or an 8.
Yeah, 8 out of 10, man. It's a game everybody should play. It's short. Like the shortness is a detriment, but it's also just like, why not? You played it one night. It's a great night. You had a great night. Enjoy.
Yeah, and I feel like if it's one of those games that had it gone too long, it would have overstayed its welcome. I don't want to play 10 hours of that.
Yeah.
3 hours was like perfect. So, yeah, touche to them. I mean, really, they're doing something that most should do, and they don't. So, well done.
I do have one question for you, Adam. You played the DLC, and you were like, this is the dumbest DLC. It was over in like 10 minutes. And I said, Adam, that's just them effing with you, man. Keep going. And you said, brilliant. Were you being sarcastic when you said brilliant, or did you legitimately think that was funny?
No, I thought it was funny.
Okay.
They got me.
Yeah.
Seriously. I was like, because, DLCs, they can be anything. They can be really short. They can
Arizona
suck,
Sunshine,
they can be
$3 and
great.
it's done in 20 minutes. Yeah.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, I assumed this game came out in 2013. It's an old game. They probably just wanted to throw something. I mean, it's free. They're not selling it unless you buy the whole thing again. So it's not like they wanted to make a ton of money on it. So when it was really short, I was like, okay, well, and again, it was really easy. And so I was like, what the heck is that? Why even have it? And I mean, it had credits and everything. Like, it looked like it was done. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I'm glad you said that, because I don't know what would have happened, but oftentimes when I see credits, I turn the game off and I move on. I don't know if I would have done that for that one, but that's a possibility, and that would have sucked.
That's funny that there's people out there that might have not played the rest of the Mind Control Delete DLC because they thought it was legitimately done after 10 minutes. All you got to do is hit X one more time, and they're like, "Oh, you're back. Let's keep going." Well, so what's the best version of Super Hot? VR, Mind Control Delete, or the flat original game?
I still gotta say it's a VR, man. There is nothing that can replace the fact that you are literally moving in your room to avoid bullets. There is no way, I guess maybe this is a stretch. There are very few games where I could watch my roommate, or rather my friend, bust his head on my cabinet because he's in Super Hot and he's so entranced trying to move and crawl around to avoid these guys. Incredible. It is outstanding. As I said, a quintessential. And because it's so well done and the game is just ripe for virtual reality, the whole game, even in the flat version, it's about, in a sense, virtual reality too.
The characters are wearing VR headsets. Yeah.
It's incredible. And so it is really, although the others are very good, virtual reality, I think, is just, it's next level.
Yeah. Thank God that this game came out around the same time virtual reality came out, just so we could get a VR version of it. That's great. I think that sums up our thoughts on Super Hot VR, Adam. Do you want to let the listeners know about the future of PlayPSVR and what we have planned for the whole the brand of PlayPSVR?
So we wholly thought about what we were going to do in the future. And, every now and then you come up with an idea and you get knocked down, but you get up again. You're never going to never going to keep me down.
Never going to keep me down.
You're never going to keep me down. Tie me down. I don't care. I won't stay down, and unless it's in bed. And so what we're thinking here is continue with the Play brand. We have a brand here. It's called PlayPSVR. We're playing. And so what we are very excited for, as we mentioned in the beginning of the podcast, is the PS5. So we are considering branching out. We have our PlayPSVR, and that will blossom into another podcast called Play PS5. I've already checked, Alex. There are no trademarks. I see no other podcasts.
Have you checked with Wisconsin? The Wisconsin government, see if anybody there has trademarked Play PS5.
Oh, I have not. I should definitely contact them.
Is there some rinky-dink PlayStation 5 convention that occurs in Wisconsin once every 3 years?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to have to check because that would be a shame. We are going to start this Play PS5 podcast, and initially it's going to be discussing the specs. We're going to look into some of the games that were presented in the conference. And then obviously once the PS5 comes out, we're rolling, boys. We're rolling big time, and I'm going to be excited for it. We love PS5. And obviously that's going to incorporate PSVR 2 and PSVR in general as well. But it's going to be the same format as this. We find this very enjoyable. We think it resonates with the fans, and it's a little more fun to do when we can jump around. And I think it's a pretty good idea. I'm excited for it because I love PlayStation. Alex, are there any other thoughts or things you would like to add about the potential advancement of the Play brand.
Yeah, the Play brand, Play PSVR, we're a hype machine, man. We thrive off the hype of PSVR. And PSVR doesn't have much hype around it anymore. We want to reinvigorate that hype, and we also want to hop onto the hype train of the PS5. We're ready to enjoy this with you guys. We want to feel the excitement of the new announcements, of the press conferences, of the games that are in the pipe, of the new releases that are coming out. We want to get excited about it with you and talk about it with you. So be looking forward to Play PSVR. We're going to keep going because we know that PSVR is part of the PlayStation ecosystem moving forward, but get excited about PS5 as well, baby. We know that's bringing enhancements for us on PSVR and gaming in general. So Adam and Alex, we are here for you. We want to get excited with you, so reach out to us, playpsvr@gmail.com. You knew it. It never changed. At PlayPSVR on Twitter. And just to close it out, Adam, final thoughts. I just want to thank you again, everybody. What you got?
I've got one more. I want to tell you, or I want you to tell the fans something. So what we're thinking about doing here is, and we haven't made any decisions, is do some podcasts with Play PS5, have them also on the same RSS feed as Play PSVR until we actually start our whole other podcast as well. But Alex, for the fans, how excited for this transition should they be on a scale of 1 to I'll play it?
It's certainly an play it, baby. You forgot the baby.
Okay, that's what you guys gotta look forward to. I love it.
All right, to close it out, I want to thank you again for joining us for the Play PSVR podcast. This is episode 83. My goodness, it was good to see you again, Adam. It was good to see you again, listeners. I love this logo behind me. I love the logo behind you, Adam. It'll be good to see you more, and be sure to Zoom your grandma. You know, she misses you. These are precarious times, and remind her that her first encounter, before all this stuff happened, her first encounter with Zoom was through Play PSVR, the podcast. And that Play PSVR, the podcast, is back at it again, baby. We took a break, all right? Paternity leave. We had to take a breather here, get another person in this world, get our energy back up. When your daughter is finishing up her cyber schooling, she's done with her classes and her teacher has logged off and she starts closing that laptop screen, slide your finger in there, baby. Catch it, because we're going to use that computer because it is time to watch Play PSVR, the podcast, baby. We are back as a family. We are back as your family. It is Play PSVR, where virtual reality is our reality.